My wife compared me to another man and said I could never compete with him. I didn't react or explain anything. I let time and silence turn that comparison into a mistake she couldn't take back. You'll never be like him. You know that, right? My wife said it with such casual certainty, like she was commenting on the weather. We were standing in our kitchen, the dinner I'd cooked getting cold on the counter. I didn't respond. I just looked at her, really looked at her, and saw someone I wasn't sure I knew anymore. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 34, been married for 6 years. We met in grad school, got married young, built what I thought was a solid life together. Until that Tuesday night when everything shifted. Did you hear me? She asked, her tone sharper now. I heard her. I just didn't have words yet. The him she was talking about was Derek, her new colleague at the consulting firm. She'd been mentioning him constantly for the past 3 months. Derek closed a major deal. Derek presented to the board. Derek got promoted to senior partner at 36. At first, I didn't think much of it. People talk about coworkers. It's normal. But the comparisons started creeping in. Derek would never forget to book the anniversary dinner. Derek takes his wife to Napa every year. Derek just bought a lake house. Each comment landed like a small cut. Not deep enough to bleed out immediately, but enough to sting. That Tuesday, she'd come home energized from some work event. I'd made pasta, her favorite, and opened a bottle of wine. She barely touched either. Derek gave the most incredible speech tonight, she said, scrolling through her phone. The entire room was captivated. I nodded, twirling pasta on my fork. He has this presence, you know? Like when he walks into a room, people just notice. I set down my fork. That must be nice, I said quietly. It is, she continued, not catching my tone. His wife is so lucky. He's ambitious, driven, makes things happen. The implication hung in the air like smoke. And I don't. I asked. She looked up from her phone, surprised I'd engaged. That's not what I'm saying. Then what are you saying? She sighed, like I was being difficult. I'm just saying that some men have that spark, that drive. Derek has it. He's going places. And I'm not. You're content, she said. There's nothing wrong with that. But you'll never be like him. You know that, right? That's when time seemed to stop. I stood there, holding a wine glass, looking at the woman I'd spent 6 years building a life with. And I made a decision. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't defend myself. I wouldn't explain. I would just let her words exist in the space between us. Okay, I said. She blinked. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I took my plate to the sink, rinsed it, and went to the living room. She followed me, confusion all over her face. That's it. You're not going to say anything. What would you like me to say? I asked, my voice calm. I don't know. Most people would defend themselves. I'm not most people. She stood there for a moment, then shook her head and went upstairs. I sat on the couch until midnight, thinking. The next morning, I woke up before her and went to work. I'm a structural engineer, nothing glamorous, but I'm good at what I do. I design bridges, buildings, foundations that hold up under pressure. Ironic, considering my marriage was starting to crack. At work, I threw myself into a new project. A pedestrian bridge for the city, complex design, tight deadline. It required my full attention. For the first time in months, I felt clear-headed. When I got home that evening, she was already there, laptop open at the dining table. Hey, she said, not looking up. Hey. I made myself dinner, ate alone, and went to the garage. I'd been restoring an old motorcycle for the past year, a project I'd mostly abandoned. That night, I got back to it. The repetitive work, the smell of oil and metal, the problem solving. It was meditative. She came out around 9. You're really into that thing again? Yeah. I thought you gave up on it. I did. Now I'm not. She lingered in the doorway. Are you mad about last night? I looked up from the carburetor I was cleaning. No. You seem different. Do I? She frowned. You're being weird. I'm being honest, I said. You said I'll never be like Derek. I'm not arguing with you. You're probably right. Her frown deepened. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? She opened her mouth, closed it, then turned and went back inside. The pattern continued for weeks. She'd come home talking about Derek. I'd listen without comment. She'd make comparisons. I'd nod and move on. She'd try to provoke a reaction. I'd stay calm. The more I didn't engage, the more frustrated she became. Why aren't you bothered by this? She asked one night. We were in bed, backs to each other. By what? By me talking about Derek. Should I be? Most husbands would be jealous. I'm not most husbands. She rolled over to face me. Do you even care about this marriage anymore? I turned to look at her. Do you? The question clearly caught her off guard. Of course I do. What kind of question is that? An honest one. She sat up. You've been distant for weeks. You barely talk to me. You're always in the garage or working late. I'm giving you space, I said. Space for what? To figure out what you want. I know what I want. Do you? She stared at me, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Doubt maybe. Or fear. This is ridiculous, she said finally. You're making a big deal out of nothing. I haven't made a deal out of anything, I pointed out. You're the one who keeps bringing it up. She got out of bed and left the room. I lay there in the dark, surprisingly calm. Something had shifted in me. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was just done. Done trying to measure up to some imaginary standard. Done competing for my own wife's respect. Done being treated like a participation trophy. The next day, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my brother. We met for lunch at a diner halfway between our towns. You look different, he said when I sat down. Different how? I don't know. Lighter maybe? I told him everything. He listened without interrupting, which is rare for him. When I finished, he leaned back and whistled. That's rough, man. Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. Do you love her? The question should have been easy to answer. Instead, I sat there, turning it over in my mind. I love who she was, I said finally. I don't know if I love who she's becoming. He nodded slowly. That's honest. It's all I've got right now. Have you thought about counseling? She'd have to want to go. And you? I'd go. But I'm not going to beg her to fix something she doesn't think is broken. My brother studied me. You've really changed. Maybe I'm just tired of pretending. We finished lunch, and I went back to work. That night, I came home to find her in the living room with her laptop and a glass of wine. We need to talk, she said. I set down my bag. Okay. I've been thinking about what you said. About me figuring out what I want. I waited. I think we should take a break. The words should have hurt. Instead, I felt a strange sense of relief. How long of a break? I don't know. A few weeks, maybe a month. Where will you go? My sister's place. She has that spare room. I nodded. When? This weekend. Okay. She looked at me, clearly expecting more of a reaction. You're not going to fight me on this. Would you change your mind if I did? She hesitated. Probably not. Then what's the point? She stood up, agitated. The point is that you're supposed to care. You're supposed to be upset. I am upset, I said. I'm just not going to perform it for you. Perform it? What does that even mean? It means I'm not going to cry or yell or beg you to stay just so you can feel important. Her face flushed. That's not fair. None of this is fair, I said. But it's where we are. She grabbed her wine glass and went upstairs. I stood in the living room alone, listening to her footsteps above me. That Saturday, I helped her load her car. We worked in silence, carrying boxes and bags down the stairs. When everything was packed, she stood by the driver's door. I'll call you in a few days, she said. Sure. You're really okay with this? I'm not okay with it, I said. But I'm not going to stop you. She got in the car and drove away. I went back inside the empty house. It should have felt lonely. Instead, it felt quiet. Peaceful even. I spent that first weekend cleaning. Not just tidying, but deep cleaning. I scrubbed floors, organized closets, threw out things we'd been keeping for no reason. With each bag of trash, I felt lighter. I finished the motorcycle the following week. Took it for a test ride on Saturday morning. The engine roared to life, and I rode through the empty back roads outside town. Wind in my face, sun on my back. For the first time in months, I felt free. My brother called that afternoon. How are you holding up? Better than I expected. That's good. I think. It is. Has she called? Twice. Both times just to check on mail or bills. Nothing about the relationship? No. That's telling. Yeah. He paused. I'm proud of you, you know. For what? For not falling apart. For handling this with dignity. I'm just trying to survive it. You're doing more than surviving. You're thriving. I wasn't sure about that, but I appreciated the sentiment. 2 weeks into the break, I got a call from an old friend. Rachel and I had gone to college together, lost touch for a few years, then reconnected at a conference. I heard about you and your wife, she said. I'm sorry. News travels fast. Small industry. Are you okay? I'm getting there. Good. Listen, I'm in town for a project. Want to grab coffee? I almost said no. Then I thought, why not? Sure. We met at a cafe downtown the next day. She looked good, successful, confident. We talked about work, about life, about everything except my marriage. It was refreshing. You seem different, she said after an hour. Everyone keeps saying that. It's a good different. You seem more settled in yourself. I don't feel settled. I feel like everything's falling apart. Maybe falling apart is the first step to putting yourself back together the right way. I let that sink in. That's pretty profound for a Wednesday afternoon. She laughed. I have my moments. We exchanged numbers and promised to stay in touch. As I drove home, I realized I was smiling. That night, my wife called. Hey, she said, her voice different somehow. Hey, how have you been? Good. You? Fine. Busy. Silence stretched between us. I wanted to let you know I'm extending the break, she said finally. Okay. Derek invited me to join his team on a project in Boston. It's a month-long assignment. There it was. Derek, when do you leave? Next week. Okay. That's all you have to say? What would you like me to say? I don't know. Something. Have a good trip, I said. Are you seeing someone? She asked suddenly. The question surprised me. No. You sound happy. I'm not miserable. Is that the same thing? She was quiet for a moment. I saw on social media you finished the motorcycle. I did. It looks good. Thanks. Another pause. I should go, she said. Okay. I'll call you from Boston. Sure. She hung up. I sat there holding the phone, processing. She was going to Boston with Derek. I should have been angry. Instead, I felt nothing. Or maybe not nothing. Maybe I just didn't care anymore. The next month passed quickly. I worked on the bridge project, hung out with my brother, had coffee with Rachel a few more times. Life continued. My wife called occasionally from Boston. The calls were short, awkward. She talked about the project, the city, the team. Never about us. I didn't push it. Then one Thursday night, she called crying. I need to talk to you, she said, her voice breaking. What's wrong? Everything. Can I come home this weekend? It's your home too. I mean, can we talk? Really talk? Okay. She arrived Saturday afternoon. I was in the garage when her car pulled up. She came in looking exhausted. Different. Smaller somehow. Hi, she said. Hi. We went inside, and she sat at the kitchen table. I made coffee, set a cup in front of her. Boston didn't go well. I asked. She shook her head. The project was fine. Everything else was a disaster. I waited. Derek's married, she said. Obviously, I knew that. But I saw him with his wife at a company dinner. She paused, staring into her coffee. They were so normal. So regular. She's a middle school teacher. They were laughing about their kids' soccer games. And I realized something. What? All the things I admired about him, all that ambition and drive, it came at a cost. His wife looked exhausted. His kids barely know him. He works 80-hour weeks and calls it success. I didn't say anything. And I looked at them and thought about you, she continued. You're home for dinner. You remember birthdays. You fix things and build things and actually care about having a life, not just a career. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. I compared you to him and made you seem small. But you're not small. You're just different. And I was too stupid to see it. I set down my coffee cup. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm sorry. I'm saying I was wrong. I'm saying I want to come home and fix this. I looked at her, really looked at her. I saw the woman I married. But I also saw the woman who spent months making me feel inadequate. I appreciate the apology, I said. But I need to think about what I want now. Her face crumbled. You're saying no? I'm saying I need time. Time for what? To figure out if I can forgive this. To figure out if I want to. She stood up, panicked. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. They do, I agreed. And sometimes those mistakes change things. I love you, she said desperately. I know you do. I love you too. But love isn't always enough. What does that mean? It means respect matters. Trust matters. And I'm not sure we have either of those things anymore. She started crying harder. So what? We're just done? After 6 years? I didn't say that. I said I need time. How much time? I don't know. She grabbed her purse, furious now through the tears. This is bullshit. I came here to apologize, to fix things, and you're punishing me. I'm not punishing you, I said calmly. I'm protecting myself. From what? From being treated like a backup plan. From being compared to other men. From being made to feel like I'm not enough. I never said you weren't enough. Yes, you did. You said it every time you mentioned Derek. You said it every time you compared our life to his. You said it that night in the kitchen when you told me I'd never be like him. She flinched at the memory. I didn't mean it. Maybe not. But you said it. And I believed you. She stood there, broken. What do I do now? Go back to your sisters. Give me space. Let me think. And then we'll see. She left that evening. I watched her car disappear down the street. The house was quiet again. I sat on the couch, replaying the conversation. Part of me wanted to call her back, to say we could work it out. But a bigger part of me knew I needed this time. I needed to remember who I was before I became someone's disappointing alternative. The weeks that followed were strange. I went to work, came home, lived my life. She called a few times. I answered, kept the conversations brief. Rachel and I started hanging out more regularly. Nothing romantic, just friendship. But she reminded me that I could be valued without having to compete for it. One night, we were sitting on her apartment balcony. "Can I ask you something personal?" she said. "Sure. Are you going to take her back?" I stared out at the city lights. "Honestly, I don't know. What's holding you back?" "Fear, maybe. Fear that it'll happen again. Fear that I'll always be measuring myself against whoever she admires next." "That's valid. But I also miss her. The real her, not the version she's been lately." "People can change back," Rachel said. "But only if they really want to." "How do I know if she really wants to?" "I think you already know. You're just not ready to admit it yet." She was probably right. 2 months after our kitchen conversation, my wife called. "I got offered a job," she said. "That's good. It's at a different firm. Smaller, better work-life balance. I'd be home by 6 most days." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I turned down a promotion at my current firm to take it. Because I'm trying to show you I'm serious about changing." I was quiet. "I'm also going to therapy," she continued. "Working on my issues with validation and comparison. Trying to understand why I needed to measure my life against everyone else's." "That's good. I want to come home. For real this time. But only if you want me to." I closed my eyes. "I need you to understand something," I said. "Okay. If you come back, it can't be like before. I won't be a project you're trying to improve. I won't be compared to your colleagues or your friends' husbands. I need to be enough as I am." "You are enough," she said. "You've always been enough. I was the one who wasn't. And if you forget that again, then you leave. No second chances." "I get that." I thought about it. About 6 years of marriage. About the good times before everything got complicated. About whether people really could change. "Come home next weekend," I said finally. "Really? We'll try. That's all I can promise. That's all I'm asking for." She came home the following Saturday. We spent the weekend talking, really talking. She told me about therapy, about realizing her need for external validation. I told her about the past few months, about finding myself again. It wasn't magical. It wasn't like the movies where everything's fixed with one conversation. But it was honest. And maybe that was enough to start with. Sunday night, we were in the kitchen making dinner together. She chopped vegetables while I handled the stove. "I saw Derek's social media," she said casually. I tensed. And I unfollowed him. Unfriended him, actually. I looked at her. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did. Not for you, for me. I needed to stop comparing our life to anyone else's." I nodded. "Thank you. I'm sorry," she said, setting down the knife. "For everything. For making you feel small. For being so blind to what I had." "I know. Do you forgive me?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "I'm working on it," I said honestly. She smiled sadly. "That's fair." We finished making dinner in comfortable silence. Ate together at the table. Cleaned up side by side. It felt almost normal. Almost like home. That night, lying in bed, she turned to me. "Can I tell you something?" "Yeah. I saw the bridge you designed. The pedestrian one downtown. I drove by it yesterday." "Okay. It's beautiful. Strong and elegant and built to last." I didn't know what to say. "That's you," she continued. "That's what I couldn't see. You build things that matter. Things that hold people up. And I was too busy chasing flash to appreciate substance." I felt something crack in my chest. The wall I'd built around myself. "Thank you," I whispered. She reached for my hand in the dark. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life proving you made the right choice letting me come back." "You don't have to prove anything," I said. "You just have to be present." "I can do that." We lay there in the quiet. Not everything was fixed. We still had work to do, conversations to have, trust to rebuild. But for the first time in months, I felt hope. Real, genuine hope. The next morning, I woke up early and made coffee. She came down in her pajamas, hair messy, no makeup. She looked more like herself than she had in a year. "Morning," she said. "Morning." She poured herself coffee and sat across from me. "I was thinking," she said, "maybe we could start fresh. Not forget what happened, but use it to build something better." "I'd like that." "Me too." She smiled, and I saw the woman I fell in love with. Still there. Still fighting. Still worth it. We didn't have all the answers. We didn't know if we'd make it. But we were going to try. And that was enough. For now, that was enough.